Hi, friends. Susan Axelrod here. I had an extraordinary experience this morning on LinkedIn. I made a post like I sometimes do. I just go on periodically and post things that are on my mind. I try to always post something that's inspiring or motivating or reminding you about your goals. The other day, I posted just two sentences. What was it? Life happens. What are your coping strategies? That's it. Just that. Life happens. What are your coping strategies? It's probable that I had a little blip myself with life, questioning myself maybe or something. I honestly don't remember. I put it up there and really didn't think about it again because that's how I do these things. This morning, I saw that someone had replied to my LinkedIn post, and she talked about one of her best coping strategy was fitness, was exercising, going to the gym. And I thought about it and I replied to her, wow, that reminds me of my own fitness story. And I told her this story that I'm about to share with you. She got back to me, and it turns out she's a independent worker working out of her home like I am, and so we had a really nice exchange. She's in a state so far away from mine, I don't even know where it is. So here we are, just two independent workers having this beautiful exchange on LinkedIn. So it made me think about this all day, and I realized that I do have an important story to share about fitness. And so I'm happy to do this with you now. I'm looking at this like one of my mini workshops. I've been, doing this, as you know, offering these video mini workshops just as a small or short point of inspiration, hopefully to motivate you about anything that's going on in your life. So I'm thinking this will be about 20 minutes or so, just to give you a heads up. I'm very interested in your thoughts and comments as I go along. So many years ago, I was a working mom and wife. I traveled for my job. My husband was getting his PhD, then he got his PhD and starting out as a new professional. We had two kids, a house, a dog, and we paid for daycare. And then we made a decision to pay for a Jewish education, a private Jewish education for our kids, because we lived our values. So work was very important. And because my husband got his terminal degree, he didn't have that much of a salary in the beginning. And I worked in the nonprofit field, so I made a very good living at that time, but it wasn't the most. Life was very stressful, and we were very tense all the time, and we yelled a lot and fought a lot. And I ate a lot, and I was stressed a lot. So eventually, over time, I really gained weight, 20, 30 pounds more than I am now. And but the most important thing about that is not how I looked, but how I felt. I felt sluggish, and I felt very irritable a lot. And I had this thought, this like ongoing thought in my mind about how unhealthy this was and how I never exercised. And my husband somehow developed these habits of eating well and working out regularly. So he gave up fats like decades ago, and he doesn't eat very much dessert, and he snacks on cauliflower. I'm like eating a whole sleeve of Thin Mints, and he's breaking off a piece of cauliflower for snack. Then he started running with a friend, and they, had a regular running routine. And then my older daughter, Rebecca, got into fitness, and she joined track and started going to the gym and working out, and I was still not doing it. I was volunteering in big leadership positions, working, traveling. You know the story. Most of you live that same story. So I always said, I can't fit fitness into my life. That was always my excuse. I didn't know how my husband did it, but I couldn't do this. With everything else I had, there was no way that I could do that. And eventually, long story short, as much as possible, I ended up suffering from anxiety and some depression. This is a story that everyone who knows me knows. I talk about it. I reveal this because I know how prevalent it is, and I just want people to understand you're not alone. I ended up having a little mini breakdown. I ended up in bed at that time, et cetera, et cetera. My story went on. I got onto medication for anxiety and depression, and that's what I just needed at that time. I was on that for 7 years, and it served me, and that was a blessing. I was glad to be able to take it, but I had this thought. I don't know what else was going on in my life, but I had this thought I want to get off the meds. I want to get off the meds. And also, I think the other thought that I can't really, it's funny. I remember the thought I want to get off the meds, but I don't remember the thought I want to get healthier. Now, the way I think about things, and now that I'm in awareness the way I am, I'm wondering if I had a deep down buried thought, I want to get healthier. My husband was getting healthier. My one daughter was. So I wonder, I bet that was a thought that began to come up in me. But it manifested itself as I want to get off meds. So I spoke to my doctor, and he basically said, if you want to get off meds, then you should go to the gym. Well, the gym was like, no, this was me in the gym. My husband went to the gym. Rebecca sort of at that time, I think, was going to the gym. Sarah and I know we were on the couch at home making fun of them going off to the gym. Anyway, I decided to try it. I didn't just decide to try it. I wanted it. I must have wanted it really, really badly, right? For me to go from zero, never going to the gym. When we were growing up, I don't even know if there were gyms like we have them today. So to go from 000 to going to the gym, what had to happen? How did I have that breakthrough? What had to happen for me to make that decision and then actually do something about it? To get my foot on that bridge and cross over that bridge. I had to want it. I must have really, really wanted it. I'm telling myself now, even as I'm sharing this with you, this is what happens when you share your story. I'm having a realization. I really wanted to get off those meds, but I also think I really wanted to have a healthier, fitter life. One of my friends said to me, when you talk about your weight, it may be off to other people because you appear to have such a good package. And I want to thank her for helping me, to realize and remember that. What I want to say about that is everybody sees their own package in the mirror. And so you can see, at that time, I saw myself the way I saw myself. I still do. So do you. Everybody does. I do invite you to put on a new lens and see yourself in a more self-loving way. But in those days, I didn't have those tools. I didn't have any of those tools. So I'm trying to bring myself back. So I started going to the gym. I signed up. Planet Fitness down the street. It was convenient. It was convenient for me. It was cheap. It wasn't I have to make this big investment and I can't afford it, right? So it was convenient. It was cheap, and I really wanted it. And so I started going. Something else happened. My husband shared with me the most loving mantra. The mantra that he shared with me was, anything is better than nothing. And now I hear myself saying this, and I realize I have talked about this on my videos before, so I'm sorry for repeating myself, but this is a lesson worth repeating. Anything is better than nothing. In my old type A personality, Miss Perfection, I got to get it right, and I got to do more, I got to do the most. I, probably wanted to do a lot more than I could do. But for me, honestly, the truth is just getting to the gym, like getting in my car, driving there, getting out, getting onto the treadmill. I remember I had a hysterical moment when the first time I tried the elliptical. I could not do it. I could not take 2 steps. Sarah and I'll tell you, we were laughing so hard. We were hysterical that I was like, I thought I was going to die from the elliptical. So anyway, I wanted it. I committed to it. I got support, loving support from my family about this deep desire that I had. And then I kept in mind this idea that I really wanted to do this. I had a big outcome that I wanted to achieve. And so I went and I kept going. In the beginning, when I went on the treadmill, again, I'm honestly, I'm not exaggerating. I couldn't do 10 minutes. I just couldn't. I had no stamina. I had no practice experience. I mean, I had nothing. And so the next thing is, slowly, these little steps that we take, just the little steps that add up can make a very big difference. I know my friend Susan is on here. I'm wondering, Susan, if you want to comment about your fitness journey, because I've been watching you. I know you have such a great fit journey, and I would love to have you comment. How is it that you get yourself to the gym and training, or anybody else who has some kind of fitness in their lives? I really would love to have you share in the comment lines. So slowly, I just went to the gym, and then I felt a little bit better, and then eventually I started dancing. I did. I took an adult tap and jazz class, and I met the greatest group of women. I miss those days. Years. I think it was like 8 years or 6 or 7 years maybe that we would go to dance class, and then we would go to the pub after and kind of chat and connect. That was really fun. So then I started dancing, and that was another form of fitness, and that helped me even further. Then Sarah, when Sarah was in high school, I think I kind of wanted to like motivate her to get a better fit routine, because she didn't have one either, because she had no modeling. So she and I joined a kickboxing class together. And she was such a good sport. Oh my God, the trainer, Jerome Adams, calling out Jerome. The trainer would pick on her mercilessly because she wasn't, she didn't have stamina. And it was really all in good fun. But it wasn't easy for her, but she did it too. She did it. We went there, and it was such a wonderful thing to be able to do that together. So I could obviously go on and on about this, but there's another very important thing. I made some notes so I stay on task. Another thing, I wrote reduced anxiety, and another thing was through my fitness journey, I was introduced to endorphins. So if you know what endorphins are, then you know how awesome that is. I had heard about them. I kind of knew what they were from a physiological perspective, but I never experienced it until I did. I was up to running miles on a treadmill, and I was just kind of in a better, healthier, fitter place. And the more you do, kind of the more you want to do. And one day I was like running on the treadmill full out, and I sort of had this like explosion in my head of like, oh my God, this feels so good. It feels emotional to me that I am doing this, like I'm finally living this life and now this is years. This wasn't like, oh, a few days. No, this is years. And so anyway, so then I found out what endorphins are, and they were awesome. And then later still, when I turned 50, I was like, oh, I wanted to set a big goal, and I signed up for a half marathon. So I was, of course, in much better shape by then. But Rebecca wanted to be a personal trainer, and a lot of you know this story. So she helped me. She helped train me for a half marathon, and then we ran it together in Maine, actually. And I know I showed you this before. Where's my marathon medal? I don't know what I did with it. It's usually hanging right around here somewhere. Susan, my friend Susan said, love those endorphins. She knows. I know, because I see her like talking about going to the gym, and I know, working with a trainer, and I know that it's an important part of her life. So she really does know what I'm talking about. And yes, she's calling out Jeannie Trimboli as a trainer. So more recently, of course, I got to work with Rebecca. I thought she might be on today, but she has training clients now. So I got to work with my daughter as a trainer. I really committed to it, and she took it seriously, and I took it seriously. There's going to be a great chapter in my next book about that. And then more recently, I was very lucky to work with a trainer up here. I won't go into the detail of that story, but working with a trainer, it's a big investment, but it's a worthwhile investment. So I wanna move on with a couple of the other points that I wanted to make about how fitness changed my life. So I talked about reducing anxiety. I did eventually, after 7 years, get off my meds. Now I realized that's not going to happen for everyone. Everybody shouldn't get off their meds. This is just my story. It's just one story. It's not your story. Yours is whatever it is, and you should be doing whatever you should be doing with your life. I don't want to imply anything. I'm just sharing my story. And then introduced me to endorphins, and then it changed my body. So yes, my body definitely changed. And I'm talking years. I'm talking years of then committing, getting to the gym. I would just run outside. I started by walking, just walking. And then et cetera, et cetera. So then my body changed, which was kind of involved with my self-image. That was before the days of my tools, of knowing how you can change your self-image just by putting on a new lens. It's good for you to go to the gym. It's good for you to be fit, but you can still change your self-image just by transforming your thoughts and putting on a new lens. But my body did change, and that felt better to me. And then that more motivated me to keep walking and keep doing things. So that happened to me as well. And that happened to me in my middle age, which was a shock. I interviewed somebody recently for an article that I'm writing. And she said to me, it's an article on self-care. And she said to me, I thought I was just going to have to go into my 40s just being kind of fat and fluffy. And then until she said, I don't want to be, sort of fat and fluffy in my 40s. And she started using a fitness app to change her circumstances, her fit circumstances. Okay, so another thing that I wrote down is that I wanted to talk about the time that it takes to work out. This is a big barrier and resistance to people, and it was for me. It's really hard for me to admit this. It's like agony, but I'm just going to admit this. It's only hard to find the time if you're not really committed to find the time. Okay? It's only hard to find the time if you're not really committed to find the time. And so I didn't know how to do it differently then. So I coach women now, I share what I've learned, but I just didn't know how to do it differently then. I didn't know how to do anything differently then. But now if you're hearing this, and if time is a barrier, then I want to invite you to take that breath and open up and just think about if you really want to do this. And if you really want to do this, then maybe that does mean that you're not going to do something else. I wish I had known what I didn't know. You can't know what you don't know, but I wish I had known then. Yeah, something else had to give. What can give? What could it be? You have to decide that for yourselves. Unless you want to hire me as a coach, then I can support you through that. But at that time, I just didn't know what could give. But now, even now, I make my choices. Now, I've got the dog. He's sitting right over here. I got to get out and walk. I did 45 minutes with him this morning. Okay, so that was 45 minutes that I wasn't writing. I wasn't doing my my work. I wasn't getting new work. I wasn't doing anything else. But that was my priority. So if time is a barrier for you, I don't have time. I just want to say that I wish that I had known that you can create time simply by, making some different choices and, maybe possibly wanting something even more and like drilling down and exploring that a little bit. So these are the things that I wanted to share with you today. And my friend Susan, who runs a big company, she said it's all about choices. It's all about choices. And that's really what I wanted to say. Okay, so this has been long. I'm sorry, it's been 20 minutes, but I really wanted to make these points. There's one final point that I want to make with you that I'm so happy to make with you. That again, I didn't know this. This is why I do this. At my age and life stage, getting into fitness for me is not the thing that I'm doing. Living a fit life is what I'm doing. My daughter helped me understand this. My husband helped me understand this. My other daughter, Sarah, now goes to the gym. I'm so proud of her, and she's so good at it. Living a fit life is what I try to do. So I wrote down how fitness changed my life, but it was really introducing the idea of introducing a fit life into my mindset. I mean, come on. I honestly, I still sit and eat my potato chips on my couch. I mean, come on, we're all human and we're all normal. But I have fitness I have a fit life mindset now. So I've been whining and complaining to my husband and anyone else who will listen that I haven't gotten to the gym since I got Mr. Cooper. Well, my husband did not say, you know better, and I told you, he didn't say any of all those old things. All he pretty much said to me was, how much do you want it? He didn't use those words. He just said, I want to encourage you to try to go because I hear you saying you want to go. And I translated it into how much do I want it? And so I went today. I went to the sauna. I was so happy, 25 minutes. I was like, I died and went to heaven. So I want to just help you, in case you don't know, introduce you to the idea of just having a fit life. Just a fit life is a better life. A fit life might be a longer life. It might be a happier life. It might be more comfortable. It might help you be more comfortable in your own skin. It's just one thing at a time, trying. Yes, Susan said I do walk him a lot. My dog, not my husband, he runs, but no, my dog. I do because that's part of me having a fit life. And keeping him fit and healthy as well. I'm trying to regulate a little bit there. So I'm working on that. But anyway, so that's the last thing I wanted to leave you with. Thank you. This has been so long. I'm sorry it was so long, but I really, really wanted to share this. All of this came out of me from a simple interaction that I had on LinkedIn with someone I don't even know from some state that's far away. And so that's the world we live in. So thank you very much for joining me. And I want to wish each of you a wonderful fit day. And if I can be of service to support you in your fit life, just let me know. Take care. Bye.